Hey everyone, welcome to today's live stream. I'm your host, Shen, from the OneBlock community, your friendly neighborhood blockchain cheerleader. If you're new around here, let me give you the inside scoop on OneBlock. Think of us as the ultimate playground for blockchain. We are here to make your life easier with workshops, hackathons, developer courses, and tons of other cool stuff. In short, we are the Swiss Army Life for substrate developers. But wait, there's more. We also bridge Web3 projects with top-tier talent and provide tech support to help teams shape the future of open networks. Of course, we are your blockchain data friends forever. All right, enough about us. Today's hot topic is the BD development support and resource of PolkaPort East in Hong Kong. Sounds fancy, right? But don't worry, we have got an expert to break it all down for you. Please join me in welcoming today's guest, Vincent, Director of PolkaPort East. Vincent will be diving into 5 exciting areas that you will want to know more about. As you are tuning in, feel free to drop your questions in the comment section. We have got a Q&A coming up at the end, so don't hold back. Bring on your toughest questions. All right, I will have this up in live. Let's hand the mic over to Vincent and dive right in. Hello, Vincent. Please take it away.
Hello. No, thank you. It's a pleasure to be on this Zoom today, to speak with everyone. So maybe before we start off with what we at PolkaPort East are actually doing. So a quick intro would be I joined Web3 space around 4 years ago, and the first company I joined was Polkadot. Um Polkadot is a protocol, but the company behind Polkadot that built Polkadot is Parity Technologies. And so I was an employee or contractor of Parity Technologies, worked very closely with, with a lot of builders on Polkadot and also the Web3 Foundation as well. That's how I kind of got into this space. So to understand why I got into Polkadot in the first place, maybe could explain a little bit. So I got into Bitcoin. Actually, I first brushed shoulders with Bitcoin around like 10 years ago. But before you think, oh wow, he probably made like a lot of money and stuff. I brushed shoulders. I didn't end up following up through. So it was in my previous company, there was this employee who came up and said, "Hey Vincent, let me install this on your computer and I'll pay you like $100 a month." Back then I was like, okay, I'm not sure what this is. It looks kind of scammy and better not, get involved. So I didn't get involved in the end. And later on, I saw a lot of news about Bitcoin, and that's when I kind of realized, okay, so maybe I missed out a little bit, but I still wanted to understand what it is, and that's why I, spent a lot more time to try to understand what crypto is, blockchain in general. Eventually, you study Bitcoin, and then you would learn about Ethereum because Ethereum is basically um, like a Bitcoin version of, I mean, it's kind of like Bitcoin, but you have like more smart contracts on it where you can build your decentralized applications on top. So that instantly opens a lot of avenues for, basically everything in this world. For example, insurance companies, could use a Bitcoin, like, so every business out there could definitely use, Ethereum as well as a platform to build their dApps as well. And after you learn about Ethereum, then you learn about and oh, Ethereum, there's definitely things that it's more like architecture. It's like how the architecture was. It wasn't really made to like really scale really hard. And that's why, a couple years ago, there were times when, a couple dApps took down the entire network and gas fees were very expensive. So for businesses that's looking to build their businesses on Ethereum, it might be a small problem because if another NFT project came in and suddenly it congested the entire network, you're not able to carry out your business. So that's why, start looking at scaling solutions and eventually came to Polkadot, where Polkadot could really shine there by building a new system where the previous problems wouldn't wouldn't happen. So scalability, interoperability, and security is it's very important for Polkadot, and that's what they're focused on. So, I mean, that's a bit about background. And PolkaPort East is an entity that has been created roughly like a year and a half ago. And on this entity, I work very closely with two other of my directors or co-founders. One's Thibaut. Thibaut, he leads strategy, and he's also head of foundation of Bifrost. And there's also Max. Max is a VC himself, and he runs a Polkadot focused fund called Harbor Industrial Capital. And it was because around like a year and a half ago, I hosted the first Polkadot event in Hong Kong, and invited basically anybody like builders in the ecosystem and people who are interested in joining, and also people from the foundation and Parity to basically, and also Cyberport, which is the government startup and incubation department, to bring together a lot of interesting people to learn more about Polkadot. So that was a year and a half ago, and that's when we suddenly had a chat after the event, because we're all based in Hong Kong and China, and we're basically saying, hey, I don't think there are other people who know about Polkadot as well as us in China and Hong Kong. Maybe we should take this opportunity to create something to further push Polkadot. And that's when we thought about, okay, let's start a company, and we did that. And it was quite interesting because after we had the idea, we created the company, or had the idea in mind. The Web3 Foundation came up with decentralized futures program, where essentially they're restructuring the company to make it more efficient. And a lot of these projects that's interested in providing more value to Polkadot ecosystem could be funded in some way. And we were one of the grantees, and have been supported by the Web3 Foundation ever since. So that's how we started. And our mandate is basically to, I would say, three main things. Number one, to connect with investors, not just in Asia, I would say around the world as well, who's already holding Polkadot, making sure they know what's the latest in Polkadot, updating them, make basically if they have any questions, we should help them solve some of these questions about like the tech side, the business side as well. Because if they're an investor, they would want to learn more about Dot. And the second is finding more investors in the ecosystem, and also the Dot token itself. And in the ecosystem, it could mean getting more investments into the these like little projects, for example, like starting up to build their businesses, or hackathons, and the grantees, and of course like existing ecosystem builders. And yeah, the third thing is connecting investors to builders. So I would say these are the three main things. And I think after we started, our mandate has expanded a lot. And other than providing the three things I just talked about, and we also started developing a very close relationship with the government Cyberport, which is the startup entity that I just mentioned. And it was, I think, October last year where we officially had a partnership with Cyberport, and we are one of their first blockchains or protocols that joined their blockchain support program. And ever since, we have been working very close with the government. We have an office in Cyberport. We work with them on a bunch of events. Sometimes we're judges for hackathons. And the next upcoming collaboration that we have is Jam Tour in February 17th. So Gavin Wood will be coming over to Hong Kong. The last time he was here was during the Polkadot Blockchain Academy, which is back in January to February in 2024. Yeah, it was last year, 2024. And he'll be back to Hong Kong for his Jam Tour, which will happen the 17th. So if you're interested, please come join. I can share the link later to the host and the organizer of this space today, and they could share it with you if you're interested. So the idea of having this Jam Tour is there's this new architectural change that Gavin Wood is trying to push, and we're all trying to learn more about it, and that's why Hong Kong as a place where a lot of, I think, builders are active, and also like on the investment side as well. A lot of people, especially recently, are starting to look more into Web3. It's a very interesting market, and that's why this would be a very interesting event. So other than the event itself, we have a jam-packed day, or no pun intended, a jam-packed day of other events that's happening on the same day, right before the Jam Tour, where we have panels, discussions from ecosystem agents, where you can learn more about the ecosystem, what's happening, and Polkadot 2.0. We'll be there as well. So if you're around, please stop by. We'd love to have a chat with you if you're interested. And for the recent collaborations, I mentioned the Cyberport partnership, Jam Tour, and now let's talk about the activities that we usually host. So I would say there are three main types of activities that we usually host on a monthly or a bi-monthly basis. The first event is a monthly meetup event. You can think of it more sort of general casual meetup where we would host we would find a restaurant. It's usually hosted at Thai Kun, which is in Central, a very nice little dim sum place. And there's also drinks there, and where we gather a group of people who are just interested in Web3 space, of course, like Polkadot as well, where we come here, chat about Web3 space in general, and we share more about like Polkadot stuff to everyone that's interested. So that's more like a top funnel approach. And from that, we have other than these, we have like these fireside chats where it's slightly more technical, and which is more for ecosystem builders, developers, and maybe investors, which is like more like Polkadot specific panels, discussions, and events. So we hosted one with Cyberport back in October. That went very well as well. And the last event that we have is called Investors Dinner, where this is more investor builder focused, where we would bring together some of the best builders in the space and some of the current investors in the space, and of course, investors that's looking to invest in Polkadot. And we would bring all these people together, and it would be more like a private dinner where we have like 20 seats or so, more exclusive, bring together people to learn about Polkadot. But this would be more like people who are actually building and people who have like a genuine, like huge interest in Polkadot. So I would say these are the three events that we have. I mean, other than these, we're also facilitating a lot of the IR and growth things. So for example, what may be more interesting for those attending this seminar today is, oh, I'm looking to build in Polkadot. What is the next thing? So if you're based around in Hong Kong or China, we do have some hackathons coming up during the Consensus Week, hosted by EZA. And OneBlock is also involved in some of these events as well. For example, last year there was a winter hackathon. Was it last year? Yeah, I think it was like last year, because it was the end of 2022, if I remember correctly, or it was like early 2023. So sometime around that, where hackathons were hosted, and we had a lot of dot rewards for a lot of these builders as well. So these are some of the events that you could look out for if you're interested in building. If you're looking for more to learn more about ecosystem and maybe like to get connected with these ecosystem partners, make sure to come join some of our monthly events or fireside chats, where we would have a lot of our ecosystem agents, builders actually active in in some of these events. And the upcoming event, as I mentioned, Jam Tour would be a great event. We're also Polkadot is also sponsoring the Consensus Hong Kong event. So on the 19th, 20th, if you are in the Hong Kong Exhibition Center, please make sure to come stop by our booth. We have a very interesting design, which I'm quite excited about. I'm not going to share too much right now, so I wouldn't ruin it. But make sure to stop by, because we have some very cool activations with a lot of cool like design swags that will be given out to people who are interested. So very fun, very cool. So make sure to stop by the Consensus event on the 19th and 20th. We would be there. We would have some ecosystem agents as well. So if you want to chat with me, myself, or other people, my team, then feel free to come stop by and say hi. And when it comes to resources, that the last thing we have here, resources is quite interesting, because if you are Polkadot has a very interesting mechanism, which I would say is the largest DAO in the world. It's literally a DAO where token holders are able to vote for certain proposals to get it passed or to get it rejected. So let's say if I wanted a proposal, hey, I wanted to request funding X amount to do this and that. You could literally go to the OpenGov and submit your proposal. And if people think that, hey, this makes sense, they would approve it, and you would get your dot tokens, which could be translated into like your own currency. And so that's a quite interesting space. If you want to learn more about the ecosystem, you should check that out. And recently, there have been more bounties lately. So, for example, I think a BD bounty is coming up, where a bounty is like a sub that you can think of it like a sub DAO of the main DAO, where if you want to do stuff for marketing, for example, marketing bounty, BD bounty, events bounty, host events, you could apply through these like bounties or OpenGov itself for some of these events. So I would say these are some of the main things, support resources that you have if you're interested in the Polkadot ecosystem. I think I covered most of what I wanted to say. So, happy to have a longer Q&A session here if anyone has any questions or, about like how to get more involved in the Polkadot ecosystem or, if any questions in general, feel free to just yeah, type in chat. I can read Chinese, even though my Chinese, I wouldn't say it's very smooth, but I can definitely speak Chinese or Cantonese. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself and let us know.
Okay, so you're really very out ahead today, and it's so clear that PolkaPort is not only providing tech support, but also creating a real impact in the cryptocurrency with your incredible resource and collaborations. Keep up the great work, and also to all of you watching, if you have got any questions, now is the time to ask. The knowledge shared today is just the tip of the iceberg. Don't be shy. And I saw lots of students today being Bohe and other students in Bilibili. This is your chance to get expert insight straight from Vincent. So please drop your question in the comments, and Vincent and me will tackle them one by one. So please feel free to talk with us. And we close some questions before the Zoom, and the first one, Vincent. They're interested in are there any exciting job opportunities available at Poker East and now?
So PolkaPort East is a very small, lean team. As I mentioned, it's only like 3 people,
Okay.
including myself. And you can think of us as like more like advisors to the foundation. And so everything's basically covered by us. So I wouldn't say there's much job opportunities in PolkaPort East. But I think that's a great question because if you're asking this question, it means you want to be in the Web3 space. I think first you have to think about, what is the exact position you want to be. I mean, do you want to, I mean, there are multiple things, right? You could, Web3 space, you want to be a developer, or do you want to be a BD sales, like
Mhm.
strategy, or do you want to be events and marketing, or do you want to be like HR or operations? So I think you have to first figure out what you exactly want to do first and what your strengths are. So let's say if you did study business, hey, maybe you want to try BD or marketing, that could make sense. And but I would say there's actually like a jobs board, Substrate jobs board. I need to find that link where each parachain ecosystem on Polkadot would post jobs there to hire people. So it really depends on what you want. And but I think there are a lot of opportunities right now, especially as we can see, the market is it's getting hotter. It's pretty bullish. And so I think there's definitely a lot more job opportunities if you're interested. And I think if you're looking for an opportunity as well, you have to, I mean, in any blockchain ecosystem, in Polkadot as well, we're in another one, you have to really understand what is currently happening because things happen so fast. And, sometimes even in one week, things change. So like last week, for example, to learn about AI, and then suddenly this week is about, oh wow, like, Trump launched a token and, the entire world is using Solana, for example. That's just an example. But if you really want to learn more about Polkadot, you have to learn about what these people are building on Polkadot. What are some trends? What's Polkadot trying to solve? and what are the unique benefits of Polkadot and things like that. So I think you have to first figure out like what you're trying to work on, and then learn more about the ecosystem and figure out how you can add value to some of these builders out there.
Okay, so do we have any questions about PolkaPort? Okay, so the next one, what kind of awesome talent is PolkaPort looking for, like as a BD role?
Yeah. So as a BD role, like for myself,
Mm-hmm.
um, I mean, I mean, on the BD side, what we are trying to look for is, at least myself, is trying to help the current ecosystem builders to find funding, because finding funding in Web3 space is very important. So let's say we have a project that's building something on Polkadot, and they're looking to raise. Like these guys are very good builders. They're building on Polkadot, which has great tech, but they don't necessarily have access to all these investors. And so how would they reach investors? So that's more of our side. That's why in the past few years, for example, me, myself, Max and Thibaut in my team, we have all developed great relationships with many investors in the space. So that's why whenever these projects are looking to raise, we could easily, connect them to a investor to get them investments. And especially in Web3 space, your network is your net worth. So the more people you actually know that you've worked with, who knows you well, the more the more valuable you would be in the Web3 space. That's how I would put it.
Could you share us some information about why you choose cryptocurrency?
Oh, sorry. What was the question again? I didn't catch that.
So they want to know why you choose crypto as your job.
Oh, no. So as I mentioned from the start,
Mhm.
I'm quite interested in tech stuff, like things that are new and things that might have a huge impact that could change the world. I know it sounds very generic and very cliche, but I mean that's why when I first joined crypto space, because I saw the first thing I ever used in crypto was probably a credit card called crypto.com credit card. Some of you might have seen it before or used it, but basically you're able to have buy crypto on the card and spend it. And you could also send it to a friend. I mean, and that's when I first used it, I actually had to send some money to a friend, and it only took like less than a minute, and he was able to receive this on the other side of the world. And if you want to do this through like a standard bank, it would take like probably like minimum 2 days or maybe like 3 days, with a lot of approvals, a lot of steps, a lot of fees. But I was able to do that in like within 1 minute. So that's when I thought, oh wow, this is an interesting technology that could really change how the world works, and not just in payment, but in almost every vertical. And that's how I thought, hey, this is very interesting, and I wanted to jump down the rabbit hole, and ended up working in crypto, and
Okay,
it's been a pretty good 4 years, I would say.
sounds awesome. And do we have any questions? Okay, so uh, wait a second, and I'd like to find some information in the comment.
Can I ask some question?
Okay.
Sure, please go ahead.
Uh, I want to know how to deal the risk from the government, like just like China is a limit for the blockchain, and uh, I think it's come some risks to呃 to 怎么说推广这个。
To
明白
promote.
got it. 我明白你的问题. So okay, I think the Chinese government, I mean, I could be wrong about this, but I think the Chinese government is not fully banning crypto it's not banning 100% crypto. They're banning like speculation, like tokens and exchanges, right? I think these are some of the main things that's not available in China. But if you are more interested in the technology itself, like the blockchain tech itself, then it's not really forbidden in China. Like for example, last week, I think a couple chains had some events in China as well, some meetups. And so like from that, you could see that like you're not really breaking the law for, working on like technology. So it depends what you're working on. If you're saying, hey, you want to be a trader and, trade and speculate, then that might be a bit in the gray zone. It might be so that might be you might have to be a bit more careful in that. But let's say if you're a builder and you're interested in technology and you're trying to learn more about the tech, then it shouldn't be a huge problem. And I mean that's what I think.
Okay. So do you have any other questions? Okay, so I think we're going to the ending. That's a wrap, folks. Big shout out to Vincent for the incredible session and for answering all the questions with such care and detail. PolkaPort is actually doing great work, and it's so impressive how they are helping shape the blockchain landscape with your collaboration, resource, and activities. The team is out there pushing boundaries and building real connections. And of course, a huge thank you to you for being such an awesome audience. By now, you should have a clear picture of PolkaPort East and what you are all about. If you are eyeing job opportunities or have any recommend list, don't be shy. Hit me up in the DM. OneBlock is here to connect you with the right people. And the final reminders. Please don't forget the subscribe beginner program graduation ceremony is happening on January 23rd, this Thursday at 8 p.m. Make your calendar. This is one you don't want to miss. And the second one, if you've got more questions, keep the conversation going in our WeChat group. We are open 24 hours a day, just like your favorite tiger. All right, this is all for today. Thanks for hanging out. We are catch you next time. Take care and see you soon.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, OneBlock, for hosting this. Pretty good mini seminar here. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn if you want. You can just search Vincent and then parody Vincent Chan parody. That's the company I was working, or PolkaPort East. Then you should be able to find me on LinkedIn. And if you have any questions or you want to learn more about Polkadot, make sure you come and attend our event in February. Or come to some of our meetups and in Hong Kong. And yeah, super happy to be here sharing today and see you all very soon.
Hi, thank you, Vincent, and thank you for all of us.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.